Welcome to Vision Plus, a program featuring a positive outlook, dealing with everyday situations of marriage, children, and business. Believing Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. Teacher, author, speaker, delighting audiences from New York to Sacramento with a heart and message for the people today. Bonnie would like to remind you of the 800 number on the screen. Please feel free to call at any time throughout the broadcast and share your concerns. Leave your prayer request and someone will pray with you. And now, teacher, author, and speaker, Bonnie.
Hello and welcome. This is part 2 of Nicole and Chris and Danielle and little Chris Burns' story from Phil Campbell Church of God in Phil Campbell, Alabama. And she had been in the tornado when it happened in Alabama on April 27, 2011. And we're going to start out with, may get to telling a little bit about what happened, but she was actually in the house that was destroyed, but God and Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit kept them safe. And I want you to just tell a little bit about how the house was safe and the little triangle that the four of you were in that kept you alive.
Well, we were in the hallway, and the two walls of the hallway, I don't remember it collapsing, the one wall collapsing over us. Chris, he remembers seeing it and hearing it. I just remember it kind of pressing on us a little bit, and it wasn't like just had fallen. There was a pressure behind it, so that wind was pressing it down. But we were in the hallway, and the heritage wall, the heritage shelf that was on one wall caught the other wall, and I had heard a message from an evangelist named Joe Sneed preach a message several years ago about laying up mercies from generation to generation. And so I created a heritage wall with pictures from, my parents, grandparents, Chris's parents, grandparents, and the long line of church planters and evangelists and so forth. So that shelf caught the wall and kept us from being crushed from the wall. But the outside of the house was completely gone. It stripped away, our bedroom and furniture. We've not been able to find very big pieces of our bedroom furniture, our dresser and an antique cedar wardrobe that it was my grandmother's, and it just splintered. And we have not been able to find anything of that. But the closet, bathroom was gone, everything. So.
Well, Nicole, you know what? I think you're going to trust your daughter from now on. She said 2 minutes earlier or a few minutes earlier, we need to get to the shelter.
Right.
But you waited 2 minutes too long. So we're going to trust Danielle from now on. Yes. When she says, let's go to the shelter or whatever she says, you're going to trust her.
I think we're all going to be a little jumpy for a while, and the shelter's where we're going to, anytime there's tornado risk, I think that's where we're going to be hanging out, is at the shelter. So we're going to have to take some cards or some kind of board games or something to bide our time, but it'll be better than going. And we'll have to take the cat with us because he's been through thick and thin. He survived all of that. That was a miracle in itself. He was under my son's bed in the corner of the house, and there was a futon mattress under it, and he's 17 pounds. He's a big boy, and he wedged himself up under that bed. And when we crawled out and kind of came to our senses and began looking around, I saw that the bed had collapsed onto that futon mattress, and I thought, there's no way he survived. So I told Danielle, she was, Mom, where's Smudge? And I said, honey, it's okay. Let's focus on getting safe. We got to find some place to go. And an hour after things had kind of calmed down, and Chris and little Chris were out looking for neighbors and trying to help, an hour later, Smudge comes crawling out from the rubble. He was fine. And Chris, we were down at the neighbor's cellar underground, and Chris hollered through the hole, Nicole, you need to come get this. And I went up there, and there he was, and he was just scared. He was a scaredy cat. But Danielle grabbed hold of him, and she took care of him all night, and he took care of her, and he was her lifesaver that night.
Yes, that was wonderful. Now, tell us about your T-shirt and what all's going on there.
Well, it says black and gold cats stick together, and that is Russellville High School. They helped create this, and on the back it talks about all the cats. Russellville are cats. We're Phil Campbell High School is the Bobcats, and Hackleburg is cats also, and that's why the cats stick together. And I believe they're selling this as a fundraiser to help with tornado relief, because both Phil Campbell High School and Hackleburg High School were destroyed or heavily damaged. I think the Phil Campbell High School is going to have to be rebuilt. They're pushing for a 100% rebuild. So I think it's $6 for the T-shirt.
Well, that's very inexpensive.
Right,
even $10 is
$10.
inexpensive for a T-shirt, especially most of the money will go to.
Right, all the proceeds go to the local.
Oh, really?
The local tornado relief.
Oh, that's great. Now, I've done TV shows there at Russellville, and there's a television station there that has several others around the country, and I used to drive there every week for that. So I guess they are possibly still there and doing some letting people know about what's going on from their standpoint, from the Christian standpoint. Now, you worked at WHNT, didn't you?
I was at Channel 19 for 12 plus years, and I did some freelance work after I retired. I went to be a stay-at-home mom, and we bought a small farm in Tennessee, and I thought we were going to be farmers, and I realized that that's a lot of work. And
I grew up on the farm, that is for sure. I've done horrible things. My mother sent me out in that heat to plant the peas, and my 4 brothers, and so I was so hot and sweaty, I dug a hole and put all the peas down in that one hole. I went back in the house. She said, you finished very early. She probably was looking out the window and saw me. About a week or 10 days, whatever, later, here came these hundreds of peas up in one little place. She made me get out there and do it all over again. So it is hard work.
It is a lot of hard work.
But you have some good news. You actually got an offer on your farm for cash.
Yes.
I mean, how many people in the world ever has that happen? So the Lord's taking care of you there,
The Lord
too.
is taking care of us. He really is. He's provided everything that we've needed. So
It's just so unbelievable. Why did you wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, but wasn't Chris working at Channel 19 also some?
he did. He worked in the production side of Channel 19, and then left several years before I did, as he went to work for a government contractor, and the money was good. So
That's right. Well, maybe saved up enough to have a little cushion for when you became pastors. How did that come about?
Well,
Of course, I'm not surprised with your mother and dad both pastors. So
well, that was the reason why I told Chris I would never be a pastor's wife. I didn't want to do it. Never, never, never. But, when you finally stop running from God and you surrender, he puts things in your heart that you thought you would never do. And a year ago or so, over a year and a half ago, we started feeling a stirring of moving. We didn't know what we were moving into. We just said, okay, God, whatever you want for our lives. We've tried to figure it out, and it didn't turn out very good. So whatever you want for our lives. And we just started believing and trusting in him. And within a few months, he opened the doors, and we were introduced to this church that their pastor was retiring. And it was, I couldn't even explain, just going there that very first Sunday and meeting the people of Phil Campbell. We fell in love with the whole place. I mean, we've lived in great places, but I've never felt the love that I have for a city like this. And it's just, I've loved where I've lived before. It's not that I hated it. I loved it. But this just feels like home, and the people there feel like family. And God just gave us a calling there and a heart for this city. And as much as, it makes sense to leave, there's no way we're leaving. We know that God has us there for a reason. And, I'm not sure why things have happened, but I've seen his hand over the last 3 weeks since the storms. And I know that he's with us there, and I know that he loves Phil Campbell, Alabama. I know that.
Well, what's the statistics, or do you know yet? Because I understand there's still some people missing.
I don't know the totals, but it was almost 30 last time I heard.
That
We-
were
And
actually
we don't have
that were actually
killed
deceased.
in
Mhm.
Phil Campbell.
Mhm.
And our problem is we don't have internet. We don't have television, so we're kind of in our own little bubble. You just kind of hear word of mouth and.
So we get to watch your husband and you on television, but you don't get to
I've
see
not
it.
seen it. I've not seen it.
Well, you just go down and tell him, I got to have that videotape. Because he did an excellent job, and I know you guys have.
It was
And
the
in
anointing.
fact, they're following you as it was